I need to tell you about a complete pattern flip that is about to happen across the United States, and what comes next is going to affect virtually every region of this country in dramatic ways over the next 7 to 10 days. We are not just talking about one storm system moving through. We are talking about a fundamental reorganization of the atmosphere that is going to bring dangerous, severe weather and tornadoes to the southeast, a powerful winter storm to the west coast with feet of mountain snow, a major snow and ice event to the Midwest and the Northeast, extreme temperature swings from record warmth to Arctic cold, and multiple storm systems in rapid succession. This is one of the most volatile and impactful weather patterns we have seen in months, and it is going to affect tens of millions of people from coast to coast. I have been tracking the evolution of this setup for several days, and the models are now showing strong agreement on the overall pattern change, even though some of the specific details are still being worked out. What I am going to break down for you is the immediate severe weather threat in the southeast, the pattern flip that is coming, the winter storms in the west and the Midwest, the temperature extremes we are going to see, and the Arctic blast that is going to follow. Let me start with the most immediate threat, which is the dangerous severe weather situation that is developing right now across the southeast. We have a powerful storm system that is moving through the region today and tonight, and it is creating an environment that is extremely favorable for severe thunderstorms and tornadoes. Right now, warm and very unstable air is surging northward out of the Gulf of Mexico, and it is colliding with a strong cold front that is pushing eastward across the southeast. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a moderate risk of severe weather for portions of Florida, Georgia, and Alabama, which is a level 4 out of 5 on their severe weather scale. That means we are looking at the potential for numerous severe thunderstorms, and some of these storms are going to produce damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. The areas at greatest risk today are going to be across the Florida Panhandle, southern Georgia, and southern Alabama. The severe weather is going to ramp up during the late morning and early afternoon hours, and it is going to continue through the afternoon and into the evening. The main threats are going to be damaging straight-line winds that could reach 70 miles per hour or higher, large hail possibly reaching golf ball size or larger, and tornadoes. Some of these tornadoes could be strong with EF2 or stronger intensity possible. This is a dangerous situation, and if you live in the southeast, you need to be taking this threat very seriously right now. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings. Know where your safe place is in your home, which should be an interior room on the lowest floor away from windows. And be ready to take action immediately if a tornado warning is issued for your area. One aspect of this severe weather outbreak that is particularly concerning is that we could see some tornadoes develop in areas that do not typically see them very often. The Florida Panhandle and southern Georgia are going to be in the bullseye for this event, and these are areas where tornadoes can be especially dangerous because the terrain is heavily forested and the population may not be as accustomed to taking tornado warnings as seriously as people in the traditional tornado alley states. If a tornado warning is issued for your area, do not wait to see the tornado before you take shelter. Get to your safe place immediately and stay there until the warning expires. Now, while the Southeast deals with severe weather today, something much bigger is happening on a continental scale. The entire weather pattern across North America is about to flip. What I mean by that is the jet stream configuration that has been in place for the past couple of weeks is breaking down, and it is going to be replaced by a completely different pattern. For the past 2 weeks, we have had a ridge of high pressure over the western United States and a trough over the eastern United States. That pattern has kept the west relatively warm and dry, while the east has been dealing with periodic shots of cold air and some winter weather. That is about to reverse. Starting this weekend and continuing into next week, we are going to see a deep trough develop over the western United States, and a strong ridge is going to build over the central and eastern United States. This is a classic pattern flip, and it is going to have major implications for the weather we see across the country. The trough over the west is going to tap into abundant Pacific moisture, and it is going to funnel storm after storm into the west coast, bringing heavy rain to the lower elevations and massive amounts of snow to the mountains. At the same time, the ridge over the central and eastern United States is going to pump very warm air northward initially, creating some extreme temperature anomalies, and then that ridge is going to break down and allow Arctic air to spill southward, bringing a dramatic temperature crash to much of the country. Let me talk about the west coast Coast first, because this is where we are going to see some of the most impressive impacts over the next several days. A powerful winter storm is going to move into the Pacific Northwest and Northern California starting tomorrow and continuing into the weekend. This is going to be a major atmospheric river event, which means we are going to have a fire hose of moisture streaming directly off the Pacific Ocean and slamming into the West Coast. For the coastal areas and the lower elevations, this is going to bring very heavy rainfall. We are talking about 3 to 6 inches of rain in many locations, and some areas could see even higher totals. That kind of rainfall is going to create significant flooding concerns, especially near rivers and streams and in areas with poor drainage. But the more impressive aspect of this storm is what is going to happen in the mountains. As this moisture pushes inland and encounters the Cascades and the Sierra Nevada, it is going to turn to heavy snow at the higher elevations, and I am talking about measured in feet snowfall. Over the next 4 to 5 days, some locations in the Sierra Nevada could see 5 to 8 feet of total snow accumulation. The Cascades could see 3 to 5 feet. This is going to be exceptional snow, and it is going to create extremely hazardous conditions in the mountains. Avalanche danger is going to be very high, and mountain travel is going to be extremely dangerous or impossible. If you have travel plans in the mountains of California, Oregon, or Washington over the next few days, you need to seriously reconsider those plans or be prepared for very difficult conditions. One interesting aspect of this West Coast storm is that it could produce some rare tornadoes in California. When you get a very strong atmospheric river event with this much wind shear, you can sometimes see tornadoes develop even in areas where they are not common. Right now, there is a possibility that we could see a few tornadoes in the Central Valley of California or in Southern California as this system moves through. These would not be strong tornadoes, likely EF0 or EF1 intensity, but they can still cause damage and they can be dangerous. This is something that forecasters in California are going to be monitoring closely. As this West Coast storm moves inland, it is going to cross the Rockies and move into the central United States, and this is where we are going to see a major winter weather event for the Midwest and the Northeast. The timing on this looks like Sunday into Monday for the Rockies and the Central Plains, and then Monday into Tuesday for the Midwest and the Northeast. This system is going to tap into a lot of moisture, and it is going to encounter colder air as it moves eastward, and that combination is going to produce significant snowfall across a large area. Right now, it looks like the areas most likely to see heavy snow are going to be across the central and northern Rockies, the northern plains, the upper Midwest, and possibly extending into the Great Lakes and parts of the Northeast. We are talking about the potential for widespread 8 to 16 inches of snow across areas from Colorado to Minnesota to Michigan. Some locations could see even higher totals, possibly exceeding 18 to 24 inches in the favored snowbelts. This is going to be a significant winter storm that is going to create major travel problems and could affect millions of people. But snow is not going to be the only hazard with this system. We are also going to see the potential for significant ice accumulation in the transition zone where temperatures are right around freezing. Right now, it looks like areas across Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, northern Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana are going to be at risk for freezing rain and sleet. Ice accumulation is one of the most destructive types of winter weather because even small amounts can bring down power lines and tree branches and make roads completely impassable. If we see a quarter inch or more of ice accumulation, which is possible in some areas, we could be looking at widespread power outages that could last for days. This is something that everyone in the central United States needs to be monitoring very closely over the next 48 to 72 hours. Now, I mentioned earlier that we are going to see some extreme temperature swings, and I want to explain what I mean by that. Before this winter storm arrives, the ridge of high pressure that is building over the central and eastern United States is going to pump very warm air northward. We are talking about temperatures that are going to be 20 to 40 degrees above normal in some areas. Cities in the northern plains and the upper Midwest that would normally be in the 20s and 30s at this time of year are going to be in the 50s and 60s, and some locations could even approach 70 degrees. This is going to cause rapid snowmelt in areas that still have snow on the ground, and that could contribute to flooding in some areas. But that warmth is not going to last long. Behind the winter storm that moves through early next week, we are going to see a dramatic temperature crash. Arctic air is going to spill southward behind the storm, and temperatures are going to plummet. We are talking about temperature drops of 30 to 50 degrees in some areas over the course of just 24 to 48 hours. Cities that are in the 60s on Sunday could be in the teens or single digits by Tuesday or Wednesday. Wind chills are going to be even colder, with values potentially dropping below zero across large portions of the northern plains, the Midwest, and the Great Lakes. This is going to be a shock to the system, especially coming right after a period of well above normal temperatures. The Arctic blast is going to spread southward and eastward as we move through the middle and latter part of next week. By Wednesday and Thursday, even areas in the south could be seeing below normal temperatures, with lows dipping into the 20s and 30s in areas that were just experiencing 60s and 70s. This cold air is going to stick around for several days, and it is going to make any snow and ice that is on the ground very slow to melt. Now, as if all of that was not enough, we have indications that another winter storm could develop and move through the northern tier of the United States late next week, possibly around Thursday or Friday. This would be a second system following right behind the first one, and it could bring additional snow to areas that are already dealing with the impacts from the first storm. The details on this second system are still very uncertain, and the models are showing a wide range of possibilities, but the overall pattern suggests that we are going to remain very active through the end of next week and possibly into the following weekend. For everyone watching this forecast, the key message is this: we are entering an extremely active and volatile weather pattern that is going to bring multiple hazards to multiple regions over the next 7 to 10 days. If you live in the southeast, you are dealing with a dangerous, severe weather threat right now. If you live on the west coast, you need to be prepared for heavy rain and massive mountain snow starting tomorrow. If you live in the Midwest or the Northeast, you need to be prepared for a significant winter storm early next week with heavy snow and ice. And regardless of where you live, you need to be prepared for extreme temperature swings and the possibility of Arctic cold later next week. This is a pattern that is going to keep all of us very busy, and it is going to require everyone to stay informed, monitor the forecast closely, and be ready to adjust plans as conditions change rapidly. Thank you for watching, and I will continue to provide updates as this major pattern flip unfolds over the coming days.